The North did not forgive. It did not forget, and it did not bow. Beyond the last pine forests, where the mountains tore open the sky and snow ruled 9 months of the year, there was a territory no pack dared claim. The elders called it cursed, warriors called it suicide, alphas called it unfinished business. They called it the northern expanse, and deep within it, something ancient breathed. The wind howled like a grieving wolf as King Alaric of the southern dominion stood at the edge of the Frostfang cliffs. His cloak of silver wolf fur snapped violently behind him. Below, 1,000 feet down, the ice-choked sea roared against jagged stone. He was the most feared alpha king in 3 kingdoms, and yet he had failed. Another patrol gone. His beta muttered, kneeling beside him. Blood stained the snow behind them, not theirs. Alaric's jaw hardened. His wolf stirred beneath his skin, restless, furious. "It does not hunt to eat," Alaric said coldly. "It hunts to remind us this land is not ours." They both knew what it was. The northern beast, a wolf larger than any alpha in recorded history. Black as midnight, eyes like frozen gold. Claws that could split armored warriors in half. It bowed to no alpha king. It did not answer to dominance. It did not submit. 3 alphas had tried to conquer the north. 3 had died. Alaric would not be the 4th. "Summon the council," he ordered. Behind him, horns echoed across the frozen valley. Tonight, war would be declared. Far from the cliffs, in a quiet wooden cabin, nestled in snow-buried pines, a girl pressed her trembling fingers against an old leather-bound book. Her name was Alara, and she was not supposed to exist. Her mother had fled the north years ago, carrying a child whose scent was different. Not fully pack, not fully wild, not fully wolf. Alara's eyes shimmered faintly silver when she was angry, gold when she dreamed, and sometimes when the wind carried distant howls, they turned black. She lived alone now. Her mother buried beneath the frost behind the cabin. The nearby packs tolerated her presence, but never accepted her. "She's touched by something," they whispered. "She hears things. She speaks to the wind." Tonight, as the blizzard roared outside, Alara's breath misted in the cold air. The old book in her lap was open to a page written in a language she did not recognize, yet somehow understood. Her fingers traced the ink, and she whispered the word aloud. The cabin walls shook violently. The fire went out. And somewhere deep in the northern expanse, the beast opened its eyes. Back at the Frostfang cliffs, the council fire burned bright against the snow. Alphas from 5 territories stood in a circle, their wolves pressing against the surface of their skin. "This creature threatens all packs," Alaric declared. "It disrupts trade routes, it slaughters warriors, it challenges our authority." "It challenges you," sneered Alpha Darius of the Eastern Ridge. The tension crackled like lightning. Alaric stepped forward, his dominance rolling off him in suffocating waves. Several younger alphas dropped their gaze. "It bows to no king," Darius continued. "Perhaps that is what unsettles you." A growl rumbled in Alaric's chest. Before the confrontation could explode, a howl split the night, not from below, not from the forest. From the mountains themselves. It was not a challenge, it was not rage, it was a warning. Every wolf present felt it. The ground trembled, and in the distance, atop the highest peak, a massive shadow moved against the moonlight. Golden eyes burned like twin suns, watching them, judging them, waiting. Alara stumbled outside her cabin barefoot, snow biting into her skin as if it feared her. The wind had changed. It no longer howled in chaos. It moved with purpose. She clutched the book to her chest. The words she had spoken still echoed in her mind, ancient and powerful. A name, not just any name, a true name. Her heart pounded violently as a pull tugged at her soul northward, toward the mountains, toward something vast and furious and alone. "I know you," she whispered into the storm, and far away the beast stilled. For the first time in centuries, it listened. Alaric felt it too, a shift in the air, a ripple in dominance, but it was not coming from the beast. It was something else, something softer, something unfamiliar, and somehow stronger. He turned sharply toward the forest line. "Find her," he commanded suddenly. "Find who?" his beta asked. Alaric's wolf paced violently beneath his skin. The one it listens to. The northern beast did not bow. It did not kneel. It did not answer to kings. But tonight, beneath a bleeding moon, it lowered its massive head slightly toward the distant forest, as if hearing a voice only it recognized. And in a snow-covered clearing miles away, Alara lifted her gaze to the mountains, her silver eyes glowing faintly in the dark. She did not know yet what she had awakened. She did not know that kings would hunt her, that alphas would fear her, that the beast would cross kingdoms for her. She only knew one thing. When she had spoken its true name, it had felt like coming home. The northern beast bowed to no alpha king. Until she spoke its true name, the girl the mountains chose, the north did not send invitations. It summoned, and when it did, only the brave or the doomed answered. By dawn, King Alaric's hunters had found the cabin. Smoke no longer rose from its chimney. Snow swallowed the footprints leading away from it, but the scent lingered soft, wild, threaded with something ancient. Not fully pack, his beta murmured, crouching low, but not rogue either. Alaric stepped forward. The air around the cabin hummed faintly, like frost cracking beneath unseen weight. His wolf bristled not in aggression, but in awareness. She was here when it howled, Alaric said quietly. He pushed open the cabin door. Inside, the fire pit was cold. The bed neatly made, a grave visible through the frost, covered window behind the cabin, a woman's name carved into rough wood, and on the table an old leather-bound book. The moment Alaric touched it, a surge of power ran up his arm like lightning striking bone. He dropped it instantly. His wolf snarled. This was no ordinary Omega. Miles north Alara climbed. The snow did not slow her. The cold did not bite her. The mountains parted for her. She did not know how she knew the path, only that she did. Each step felt guided, drawn. The word she had spoken the night before echoed again in her chest, a name older than Pax, older than kings. She whispered it once more. The wind died. Silence fell across the peaks, and from the fog of drifting snow he emerged. The northern beast, larger than the legends described, muscles rippling beneath obsidian fur, claws sinking into ice as if it were sand, breath curling like smoke from a forge, golden eyes locked onto her. The air thickened. Any other wolf would have fallen to their knees under his dominance. Alphas had bled trying to meet his gaze. Alara did not kneel. Her heart pounded wildly, not with fear, but recognition. You remember, she breathed. The beast growled, the mountain trembled, but he did not attack. Instead, he circled her slowly, massive paws, silent in the snow. His scent was storm and iron and loneliness. When he lowered his head close to her, his breath warmed her frozen cheeks. His eyes searched her face, waiting, testing. Valor. She whispered the name, the true name. The beast froze. The world seemed to hold its breath. Then something impossible happened. The monstrous wolf, the terror of the north, the slayer of alphas, lowered his massive head until it nearly touched the snow before her. Not in submission, not in weakness, but in acknowledgement. Back at the lower ridges, Alaric felt it. The shift, the bow. Every alpha within miles staggered as a ripple of ancient power moved through the land. His eyes widened, it bowed. One of the warriors whispered in disbelief. To who? Darius demanded. Alaric's jaw tightened. Find the girl, he said again, but this time it was not command, it was urgency. High above them, Alara's fingers trembled as she slowly lifted her hand. She should not touch him. She knew she should not. But something deeper than instinct guided her. Her palm pressed against his massive forehead. The moment skin met, firm memories exploded through her mind. A time before packs, before dominance laws, when wolves were guardians, not rulers, when Valor was not a beast, but a protector bound by oath to an ancient bloodline. Her bloodline. She gasped and stumbled, but the beast steadied her with a low rumble. You were never meant to bow, she whispered softly, tears freezing against her lashes. You were meant to guard. Valor's golden eyes softened barely, almost imperceptibly. Then suddenly, he snapped his head toward the southern ridge. A growl thundered from his chest. Intruders, alphas. Alaric broke through the tree line just as snow erupted from the mountain above. He saw her first, a lone girl standing at the edge of a cliff, and behind her the beast. Even from that distance, Valor dwarfed every wolf Alaric had ever seen. Power radiated from him like a living storm. Warriors behind Alaric faltered. Darius stepped back entirely. But Alaric held his ground. His wolf rose, not in blind dominance, but in challenge. Valor's lips curled. Alara turned, her silver eyes met Alaric's icy blue, and the world shifted again. He felt it instantly. The pull, the recognition, the impossible thread of fate snapping tight between them. Mate, the word hit him like a blade. Not chosen, not political, not convenient, fated. His mate stood beneath the shadow of a creature that had slaughtered kings. And the beast was not attacking her, it was guarding her. Alaric took one step forward. Valor's roar shook the mountains. Snow cascaded down cliffs. Warriors fell to their knees. The sky itself seemed to split with the force of it. Alara spun toward Valor. No, she cried, and the beast stopped mid. Roar mid. Rage, he stopped because she asked him to. Alaric stared. No alpha in history had done that. Alara stepped forward, placing herself between the beast and the king. You came to conquer him, she said, her voice steady despite the storm building around them. Alaric's gaze never left her. I came to stop the slaughter. You came to prove dominance, and you, he countered softly. What did you come to do? She hesitated. Then whispered the truth. I came because he was alone. The words struck deeper than any challenge. Valor's golden eyes flicked between them. The wind circled violently, two powerful wolves, one ancient guardian. One alpha king and the girl who stood between them holding both their attention. Alaric stepped closer again. Slowly, carefully, I will not harm him, he said, voice carrying over the gale, but he cannot roam unchecked. Valor growled low. Alara felt the tension coil like a drawn bowstring. If either of them attacked, the north would drown in blood. She closed her eyes and spoke Valor's name again, this time not as command, but as plea. Valor, trust me. The beast's breathing slowed. For a long moment, no one moved. Then, impossibly, he stepped back, not from Alaric, from her, as if granting her the choice. The king's warriors gasped. The beast did not bow to kings, but he had bowed to her voice. Alaric's wolf pressed forward beneath his skin. Mate, power, mystery, danger, all wrapped in one silver-eyed girl. You belong in my kingdom, he said quietly. Alara lifted her chin. I belong to the north. Valor's tail flicked behind her like a shadow. Alaric's eyes darkened. And if the north and my kingdom go to war? Silence fell heavy. Alara's answer came without hesitation. Then you will lose. Not a threat, a certainty. Valor's golden eyes gleamed. The Alpha King felt something unfamiliar twist in his chest. Not fear, not anger, respect, and something far more dangerous, desire. The storm intensified. Snow spiraling around the three of them like fate itself tightening its grip. The beast had bowed to no Alpha King, but he had bowed to her voice, and now the Alpha King would have to decide, conquer the north, or win the girl the mountains had chosen. The northern beast bowed to no Alpha King, until she spoke its true name, a king's claim. A guardian's warning the storm did not fade. It waited, as if the mountains themselves were listening. Snow spiraled violently around them, but in the eye of it stood three forces that could tear kingdoms apart. King Alaric, Alara of the North, and Valor. The beast's golden gaze never left the Alpha King. His massive body remained coiled, ready to spring if even a flicker of threat crossed Alara's face. Alaric felt it clearly now, the mate bond snapping tighter with every breath. It wasn't gentle, it wasn't sweet. It was consuming. His wolf clawed at his control, claim her, but one wrong move would mean war, not only between packs, but between Alpha and Ancient Guardian. Alaric lowered his hands slowly, showing open palms, a king lowering his guard. His warriors stared in disbelief. I will not claim what is not freely given, he said, voice steady despite the storm roaring around them. Alara's silver eyes searched his face as if trying to see past the king and into the man. Your kind always claims, she replied softly. You mark, you dominate, you conquer. And your guardian kills anyone who tries. Vaylor's lips twitched back slightly, a warning growl rumbling deep in his chest. Alaric did not look away from Alara. I am not here to conquer you. The wind stilled for a fraction of a heartbeat. He stepped forward again. Vaylor's claws carved trenches into the snow. Alara lifted her hand gently. And the beast froze. The power in that small motion shook the Alpha King more than any roar. You don't control him, Alaric murmured. I don't, she said truthfully. He chooses. Vaylor's golden gaze flicked toward her, almost approving. A memory pulsed in Alara's mind, the vision she had seen when she touched Vaylor. Ancient wolves standing in a circle of stone. A blood oath, a guardian bound not to kings, but to a bloodline that could speak the true names of the first wolves. Her bloodline, but something else had been in that vision, a shadow rising from the far north, colder than snow. Older than Vaylor and hungry, her heart skipped. This was not just about dominance, something was coming. Suddenly, Vaylor's head snapped toward the highest ridge. His growl shifted. Not anger, alarm, the air changed. Even Alaric felt it, a drop in temperature so sharp it stole breath from lungs. The snow stopped falling. Mid-air, as if time itself hesitated, then a scream tore across the mountains, not wolf, not human. Something else. Vaylor's massive body moved instantly, placing himself fully in front of Alara. The ground cracked. Ice splintered from the northern peak, a shape unfurled against the sky. Enormous, pale, eyes burning icy blue. Not black like Vaylor, white, frozen, ancient. Alaric's warriors staggered backward. What in the name of the moon? Alara's blood ran cold. That's what he was guarding against, she whispered. Vaylor roared, not at Alaric, at the creature descending from the storm. The white tyrant, an exiled first wolf, twisted by centuries of isolation and hunger for dominion. It did not bow to kings either. But unlike Vaylor, it wanted to rule. Its voice echoed in their minds like cracking glaciers. The bloodline awakens. Its eyes locked onto Alara. She is mine. Alaric stepped in front of her without hesitation, over his dead body. His wolf surged to the surface, eyes flashing bright blue as he partially shifted, claws breaking through skin, canines lengthening. You will not touch her, he growled. The white tyrant laughed, a sound like breaking ice. Alpha King, it mocked. You cannot command what was born before your kind learned to kneel. Vaylor moved. The collision shook the mountains. Black fur and white fury clashed in midair, teeth snapping, claws ripping through flesh and snow alike. The impact threw warriors off their feet. Alara screamed as Vaylor was driven back into the cliffside, stone shattering beneath his weight. He was powerful, but the white tyrant was enormous, older, starved for conquest. Alaric turned to his warriors. Fall back, get to lower ground. But my king, that is not your battle. Another thunderous crash echoed as the two ancient wolves tore into each other. Blood, black and silver, stained the snow. Alara's chest tightened painfully. Vaylor was not fighting for dominance. He was fighting to protect her. The white tyrant lunged past him, straight toward her. Alaric did not hesitate. He fully shifted. His massive gray wolf form leapt into the air, colliding with the tyrant's flank. The size difference was staggering. The white tyrant slammed him into the ice like a toy, bones cracked. Alaric roared in defiance, biting into frozen fur. The tyrant shook him off violently. Alara dropped to her knees in the snow, the ancient book falling from her hands. The language burned in her mind, the true names, not just Vaylor's, all of them. Her bloodline was not meant to control. It was meant to balance. She stood, closed her eyes, and screamed a name into the storm, not Vaylor's. The white tyrants, the world exploded in light. The ancient wolf froze mid-attack. Its icy blue eyes widened. You do not have the right, I do. Alara cried, voice echoing unnaturally across the mountains. By blood and by oath. The snow beneath her feet cracked outward in a perfect circle. Vaylor struggled to rise. Alaric lay bleeding but conscious, staring at her in stunned disbelief. She spoke again, slower this time. The full true name. The white tyrant's body convulsed. Power ripped through the air like lightning. Ancient runes burned across its fur. It roared in fury and agony as centuries of stolen dominance shattered. Valor lunged one final time. Their collision sent a shockwave across the valley. When the snow settled, the white tyrant lay still, not dead, bound, its massive form shrinking slightly, forced into dormancy by the name that held its soul. Silence fell heavy and absolute. Alara swayed on her feet. The power had drained her completely. Before she could collapse, strong arms caught her. Alaric, blood streaked his face, but his blue eyes burned with something fierce and protective. "You could have died," he breathed roughly. "So could you," she whispered back weakly. Valor approached slowly, wounded but standing. His golden gaze moved between them. Not jealous, not threatened, evaluating, the Alpha King holding the bloodline guardian, the guardian girl leaning into the Alpha King's chest. The wind shifted softly. Valor lowered his massive head toward Alaric. Not submission, recognition. "You fought for her." Alaric met the beast's gaze. "I will always fight for her." A quiet understanding passed between king and guardian. Not rivals, not yet allies, but bound by the same truth. Alira was the axis the North now turned upon. Her eyes fluttered closed as exhaustion claimed her. Alaric held her tighter. "She comes with me," he said gently to Valor. The beast's golden eyes narrowed, the wind stirred, tension coiled once more. Alaric did not back down. But not as a prisoner, not as conquered land. He looked down at her unconscious face, as my queen. The mountains waited for the beast's answer. Valor stepped forward and pressed his forehead briefly against Alara's, a silent blessing or a warning. Then he turned toward the higher peaks, toward the place where the white tyrant now lay bound beneath ice and oath. He would guard it, he would guard her, even if she walked beside a king. Alaric exhaled slowly. The northern beast had bowed to no Alpha King. But tonight he had acknowledged one, and the North would never be the same again.